Here on the OCU Athletics Update, we're talking to Delaware Resource Group Superstar Athlete of the Week, Maddy Ellis, who's been one of the Stars' top hitters this season. And what's gone into your hitting performance so far this year, Maddy?
Well, I think in the off season it was pretty substantial for me to get my my mechanics down. So I think I put in a little bit of work with Bobby Bridges, great hitting coach. She's really personable. And I think that goes a long way with coaching. So, I mean, she spends extra time with me, and as well as making small adjustments, I think has really been the key factor for me in finding a comfort zone. And once you find a comfort zone and you stick there, it kind of makes things easier.
What kind of things specifically did you work on?
Well, I think making my my stance has been kind of wishy-washy in the past couple seasons. So I think I've found a spot, where to get my foot down, where my hands are, and where to keep my hands back, and not lunging forward, things like that has really made a difference, and it's made me not as nervous going into a ball game and calm down. And whenever I'm calmed down, I feel like there's no pressure. There could be runners on, no runners on, and it's just me and the pitcher, and it just makes me feel really calm and really aggressive in a way, because I feel like there's nothing riding on me. And when there's nothing riding on you, you do the best you can, and that's all you have.
You got to play in the national championship game last year. In fact, opened the scoring in that game. What was it like going through that national championship run?
Well, I was not expecting to lose at all in that run at all, but I think what helped us was that we did get to play more. We normally do that a lot during the week, and every time we play, we'll play a doubleheader. So we're used to playing back-to-back, and then whenever we go to tournaments, things like that, that's when kind of we have to sit out. And whenever you have time to sit down, you have time to relax, and it takes a little bit to amp you back up. But in the national tournament, they have you playing basically once a day. Maybe you'll sit out a day, but whenever we ended up losing, I think it was kind of a blessing in disguise, because we're so used to going and going and going, and when you are going and going constantly, you don't really have time to think. You just have time to react. And I think that really benefited us going into the loser's bracket. And I think it kind of gave us the momentum going into that last day, because we were so ready to play, and a doubleheader is normal for us.
What brought you here to OCU?
Well, I came from Oklahoma State. I had a decent experience there. Coach and I didn't really get along too well, but the experience there was great. I loved the atmosphere of the school. But what brought me here was really the business school. It's really nationally ranked. It's up there. And obviously I knew about the softball program before I even went to Oklahoma State. Didn't really consider it. I wanted to go D1 or nothing. But I really came here and I found a home, and I found the first time I talked to Coach was the first time I knew. I was like, wow, I think I'm really going to fit in here, because I never really had. He's more of like a father figure as well as a coach, because he's someone that will fight for you no matter what. You could be completely wrong, Coach. I think I'm right, and he will go till the end for you. And it's not just like that during a game. It's like that everywhere else. You could call him in the middle of the night with a problem, and he'd help you. He'd go out of his way for you and out of his way for anyone, and that's what I love about him. And I think he makes that impression on his players, and that's in turn how we work so well together.
You were coached by an OCU alum in high school.
Yes.
So what did you hear about the program before you got here?
Well, Coach Shanahan she came here quite a long time ago, but she told me whenever I was trying to go Division I and all those things, Division I is not the only way. And I was like, oh, no, you're crazy. I didn't really want to do that. But she told me about her experience here. And obviously, Coach McSpadden, he's been here for 30 years now. So he was her coach as well. And she kind of gave me some insight on him as a person, which kind of like I just talked about. And he was really inspiration. He was an inspiration to her as well. So I kind of didn't have a whole lot of background about it, but just him as a person was something that led me to be interested after my first year at Oklahoma State.
You mentioned the business school as being one of the reasons you're here. So
Yep.
What's your major here?
I'm a business major, but I'm specializing in marketing. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's kind of very, I don't know if I'm going to use that specifically in my career going forward, but that's what I'm mainly doing, and I only have like 3 classes left now, so I'm very excited to graduate.
All right, talking to Delaware Resource Group Superstar Athlete of the Week, Maddy Ellis. You can follow the Stars on OCUsports.com.
There's a call to be answered. The spirit of competition is still alive inside. The desire still drives. The phrase student athlete has a great ring to it. Lasting friendships are ready to be made. You just want to keep playing. Game on. Learn more at naia.org.
Here on the OCU Athletics Update, we're talking to softball coach Phil McSpadden. The defending national champion Stars are off to an unbeaten start this season. And Coach, let's go back to last year. Talk about winning the national championship. You had to come through the elimination bracket and win 4 times in 2 days. How difficult was that?
It's very difficult. Although there's been many years that we've gone to the tournament that I prefer getting in the losers bracket. The one thing that, I mean, every coach has got a different idea of what's an easier tournament to win, but you go through the whole season and you're playing multiple games during the week, and the new format for the national tournament pretty much has you sitting more times than playing. And so you fall in the losers bracket, you get to play more ball games, which is very similar to what you're doing in the season. And so I think it's easier to kind of get on a run or a high than it is play one game, sit 24 hours, play another game. And of course, the way we went in last year as the number 1 seed, we didn't play till the last game of the second day. And so you're sitting, you've been there 4 days and you still haven't played, and then after you play that game, you wait another 48 hours before you play another. I mean, so once you got beat, you finally got to start rolling again.
What did it mean to you personally to win the national championship last year?
I thought, I wish I didn't ask that question. I thought my career was over with because I thought the game had passed me by. We hadn't won one since 2007. Sorry. And you start second guessing yourself, and you have confidence in your players, but you wonder if you're not leading them in the right direction or you're not working on the right things in practice, et cetera, et cetera. Why can't we peak at the right time? What's the difference? What are we missing, et cetera, et cetera. And so and that's the first thing I said to him on the bus when we were leaving the ballpark, you know. I like what I do. I didn't want to give it up, but the toughest conversations, geez, sound like a tough male right here, don't it? Toughest conversations you ever have with players is when you have a kid that goes through your program for 4 years and you're giving a hug and you're saying sorry because we couldn't win you a title. And everybody deserves at least getting a serious run. And we've had a short tournament stays, you know, quite a few times since 2007 since we had won it. And so anyway, it's a very good feeling, very gratifying and reassuring that maybe I've still got something left in the tank. Sorry.
Was there anyone on last year's team that you would point to that you would say didn't get enough credit for the team's success?
Oh, I have a hard time always pointing out the people on the top and people on the bottom because I always think it's about everybody's contribution. I've always felt like to win a title, you can almost go back and point to everybody, and it might be a diving catch in the second inning of the first game, but everybody had something to play that if you remove that play or you remove that person's contribution, and it might just be one, or it might be the pinch runner that didn't get doubled up, they all figure in. And yeah, you can point to the people that make the all-tournament team, or you can point to the people that you know we always use the expression, we've got keepers, difference makers, and stallions. And so your keepers are the people that just keep you from losing ball games. Your difference makers are the ones that have the ability to help you win ball games, but your stallions have to carry you all the time. And so you can always brag about those. And usually they're upperclassmen, not always, but usually they are. They've just morphed through their career and they've gotten better and better, and you're counting on them more and more. So, I mean, I could brag about everybody that made the all-tournament team, but I would always want to point back to would it have made a difference if Amanda Ingram hadn't have made a play from right center in the first game. And that's not fair just to point her out, because like I said, I can say that about everybody. Every one of them were big plays and help you get to the final goal.
You guys have started out 11-0 this year. What's gone into the team's early success this season?
I don't know if I want them to hear me say this, but going into last year, we thought this team would be the better ball club. We knew that we felt like we had some good freshmen, but we also knew that those freshmen were going to play key roles and that they would be a year away. I mean, going into last year, I wouldn't have thought that my freshman would be the center of attention in so many instances. But when you look at our ball club, we had a freshman behind the plate in the final, a freshman pitch, and a freshman in center. And you always build ball clubs from the middle out. And knowing that, I've never started a season with a freshman pitching the first ball game and a freshman catching the first ball. But you knew, okay, these guys have to grow up fast. And but I still thought they were a year away. So I'm very excited about this year because I really, like I said, expected this one to be the better ball club. And time will tell whether it will be. But last year, obviously, we had a tremendous run, and we probably could never duplicate those numbers. But that doesn't mean that this team might be a little bit better and more mature and ready for some tough ball games at crunch time than maybe even last year's team was.
You recently started out in conference play with a 2-game doubleheader sweep over Southwestern Christian. What did you take away from that 2-game series?
Well, it was good to play at home. We didn't swing it like we finished off our last tournament over in Arkansas last weekend. We got rolling a little bit better by the second ball game. You're always playing against yourself, and so you can't take away whether it's Southwest Christian or whether it's conference, whether it's home game. How did you perform today based on how you performed last week, or did you eliminate a mistake today that you didn't make last week, et cetera, et cetera. So happy with the outcome, and it's just a stepping stone for what our ultimate goal is, and that's obviously a postseason extended run.
You've invited some alumni back for the April 21st game. Tell us what that weekend's going to be like.
I've always felt I've got all kinds of character flaws, and one of them is I don't ever want to be a nuisance on anybody, and in the process I don't do a very good job of letting people know that I like to see them, because to me it's like I'm asking you to come around, and that's a nuisance. And so some of them act like they appreciate when we let them know that we like to see them, but by the same token it's hard for me to ask because it's an inconvenience to come to a ball game if that wasn't your plan anyway. But we're trying to get more and more former players involved with the idea that, hey, we like you being around. And it's not about raising money. It's just, come out here and celebrate what you accomplished and what we think current teams are accomplishing without, once again, asking for too much and being a nuisance.
You guys are also sponsoring a 5K run to benefit the Children's Center. Tell us about that event.
I guess the best expression is kind of name branding, putting your name out there. Not to imply there's anything special about me, but I mean, I've donated forever to St. Jude's and every now and then to Shriners Hospital, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, some of that stuff just touches you when you realize how blessed you are. And all you have to do is take a tour of that hospital over there and realize you don't have to, not that I won't, but you won't have to donate to St. Jude's to find somebody that. So it's very gratifying to feel like that you could be any kind of part of someone's life that maybe, that's a horrible way of wording it, maybe not quite as blessed as you are. So they're going to come to ball games, and maybe we'll go over there and try to have a little scrimmage with them, et cetera, et cetera. And so it just kind of puts our name out there that at least we're decent people and we care, but it's really to benefit them. So we'll see where it takes us.
All right, talking to softball coach Phil McSpadden. You can follow the Stars on OCUsports.com.